It's Black Friday, and in America, we celebrate things going on sale, just like Texas, who celebrated buying the dip, becoming the first state to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. But this Black Friday also reminds us how dark the existing financial system is. We're experiencing the largest blackout in the history of financial markets, with the $1 trillion CME exchange going out because of cooling power issues with their data centers. The blackout confirms what silver bugs have felt for a long time, that the price of silver has been manipulated. Ironically, at the same time when we have blackouts, silver goes up over 4%, breaking $55 an ounce for the first time ever. The current establishment will do whatever it takes to manipulate currencies that aren't theirs to control.
You're wasting your time.
So you think they
When the DOJ calls someone up and says that's an illegal currency and it's against the laws of the United States of land, if you do it again, we'll put you in jail, it's over.
So you really
There's no issue. There will be, and this is my personal opinion, there will be no real non-controlled currency in the world.
Silverbugs breathe a sigh of relief knowing they haven't been crazy all of these years, that JP Morgan was in fact manipulating the silver exchanges. And so while everyone's excited about Texas creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve with a $5 million purchase, it's the 8th largest economy in the world. What's not to like? I'm a little bit more skeptical because they're buying it through ETFs. In order for this whole revolution to work, states, corporations, people are going to have to buy the real thing, not some financialized product that's a Bitcoin derivative. Anything else will be manipulated. We've seen this play out. The CME needs to be a wake-up call. We need to demand real Bitcoin and real Bitcoin held in cold storage, or risk the same thing that's happening to silver happening to Bitcoin. Wake up. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Let's go. Okay, there's only one right song to celebrate Thanksgiving with. And if this wasn't it, you weren't celebrating properly.
I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it.
Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, lamb, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram.
There were lots of things to be thankful for this week, starting with the announcement that we're likely going to get a new Fed chair named before Christmas.
You give us a hint. We often talk about the two Kevins, Kevin Warsh and Kevin Hassett being the front runners. Is that still the case?
Andrew, I'm still got one interview left, so I don't think it would be prudent to give any hints. And I think that there's a very good chance that the president will make an announcement before Christmas. But it's his prerogative whether it's before the Christmas holidays in the New Year's. But things are moving along very well.
Oh, you know what else we could be thankful for? Potentially no income tax. You keep what you make.
For the next couple of years, I think we'll substantially be cutting, and maybe cutting out completely, but we'll be cutting income tax. Could be almost completely cutting it because the money we're taking in is going to be so large.
Bitcoiners have a lot to celebrate as well.
What are you thankful for this Thanksgiving?
Well, I'm thankful for the fact that my turkey was cheaper than last year because I paid in Bitcoin.
Anything you're thankful for?
I'm thankful for Germany selling their coins because I immediately bought them.
What about you? Anything you're thankful for?
I'm thankful for not needing those dirty cuckbucks we call money.
What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for having bought the dip.
What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for the fact that Craig Wright isn't Satoshi.
What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for JP Morgan dumping me. They need me more than I need them.
Genius Act, strategic Bitcoin reserves, all-time highs, halvings, and more. Speaking of strategic Bitcoin reserve, you can add another thing to be thankful for to the list, as Texas became the first state to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve with a $5 million purchase with $10 million authorized. But here's the catch. It's not actually Bitcoin that they hold in cold storage or that they have the keys or access to. It's Bitcoin being purchased in the form of IBIT. The big money flowing into Bitcoin right now isn't from retail. Bitcoin is actually one of the first revolutions in history where retail front ran Wall Street. And now it seems as though Wall Street has caught on and are now going to put their paws and fingers on this asset class. The flows happening in Bitcoin are from the big boys now. In an interview that James from Checkmatey did with What Bitcoin Did, he talks about how the massive flows of capital that are coming into Bitcoin are not explained by retail buyers.
If it breaks to a new all-time high, this is the only way we can really speculate about this stuff. It feels to me like it's got to be banks and it could be sovereigns because it's in the spot market, which is a strategic position. And the size of it is just extraordinary. And how do we know it's big? Because we saw the selling. The sell side was massive. like $3 billion, $2 billion a day, I'm not bringing that in. I'm talking about being happy with a 5K clip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like the average investor is not bringing tens of billions of dollars a week.
They're coming from the banks, the sovereigns, the derivative markets, the futures markets. And this is my concern. When you see what's happening today in the CME futures market, you wonder if this sort of thing could happen to Bitcoin. The CME infrastructure went down for 12 hours because of a cooling issue. This clearly smells like a cyber attack for me. Anyone who's built anything knows that these data centers don't just run on single set of servers. If a set of servers goes down, another set comes up for redundancy. They're called backups. One data center isn't the only one online, and one data center isn't enough to take down the entire futures market. But something interesting happened when we saw the futures market go down. Well, the price of silver skyrocketed and broke $55 for the first time ever. Ironically, gold also went up over 1%. And what this tells me is the likelihood that silver hasn't been being manipulated every single day by the algos and by these future markets and derivatives that aren't actually silver holdings is highly likely. Even the charts for silver and gold were out during these outages, meaning that there was no real price discovery. But what do you mean there was no real price discovery? I have silver and I want to sell it to you at this price, and you have money and you want to buy the silver at this price. Seems pretty simple. But the market isn't that simple when you have derivatives and all of these other products that are naked shorting the price of silver every single day at the open. True price discovery is not allowed to happen. And so although people celebrate that Bitcoin is coming into the financial markets in a big and mainstream way, I disagree with some of the proponents that say that Bitcoin doesn't care. It doesn't really matter. Like in this clip from Safety, he says that it doesn't truly matter what the financial markets do with Bitcoin.
Does it matter that Bitcoin's moving away from its sort of cypherpunk ethos and just becoming this massively mainstream financial asset by virtue of what it is?
No, I don't really see it that way. I think to be honest, a lot of people project too much onto Bitcoin. Ultimately, it's just a bunch of software, and anybody can use it in any way that they want, and anybody can make it can do of it whatever they want. So it's a tool that people are going to be using, and of course initially it's a small subset of people that uses it, and then they start projecting their values onto it, and then over time they expect it to continue to abide. But over time, if it's a successful technology, it's going to be used by everybody. It's going to be used by small businesses, large businesses, governments, individuals. It's money. Everybody uses money. 8.5 billion people on Earth, they all use money, and they're all going to continue to use money. Bitcoin is just the best money. So, if you have very strong feelings about how people should and shouldn't use Bitcoin, you're in for a rough time, I would say. With it, just accept the fact that people can do with their money whatever they want, and the way that the protocol works is that it's completely blind to what you're doing with your coins. On the Bitcoin blockchain, there is no paper Bitcoin. There's no such thing as paper Bitcoin. There's only 21 million Bitcoin, and every node makes sure of that every 10 minutes. And then if somebody who has some of these Bitcoin on their private key decides to sell obligations, financial liabilities, referring to that Bitcoin under any condition, that's their choice. And so it's outside of Bitcoin, and it's outside of the realm of other Bitcoin users being able to say this is right or wrong, and this should happen or shouldn't happen. People are going to do whatever they want with the Bitcoin, including selling access to it or exposure to it in all kinds of different ways. And if you don't like it, you don't buy it. Stack your own Bitcoins.
It's not just a bunch of software anymore. Sure, it allows people to settle in real time, peer-to-peer, without any intermediary people being in between. But we're not talking about a medium of exchange just yet. We're talking about a store of value. And there is a price and an element of price discovery with Bitcoin. It's the main feature that it has right now in markets. And so the price of Bitcoin actually determines the adoption of Bitcoin. One of the main things that people want to do with Bitcoin is escape the fiat rat race, to escape monetary debasement, which is a store of value play. Unless you're Nick Fuentes. And in that case, you're an idiot who prefers the fiat system.
Would you make Bitcoin the US currency?
No. I believe in fiat money, generally.
Would you make it legal tender?
Probably not.
Okay, get him off the screen. You get the point. And I think this is entirely possible if Bitcoin continues to be lauded for its ETF inflows and ETF purchases. We need to buy the real thing, real Bitcoin that we can post in an address and run finance from, which is exactly what you're allowed to do with Ledn, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans, which allows you to post Bitcoin as collateral into an address where you can see and verify. From that actual Bitcoin, they will lend you up to 50% loan to value in dollars. So you post $2,000 in Bitcoin collateral and they give you a $1,000 fiat loan. The process is fast and simple because real Bitcoin is actually fast and simple. Fiat money goes into your account in less than 6 hours and the application takes just 2 minutes. Either you have the Bitcoin collateral or you don't. It's pretty simple. None of this futures, none of these derivatives, none of these other products. Loans start at just 12.4%. You get 0.25% off your first loan by going to learn.ledn.io/simply. One of the ways that you can also verify that you have real Bitcoin is to not trust that your Bitcoin is there in an IOU or on a screen. It's to actually verify it for yourself. Coaches will teach you exactly how to do this so you can be sure that you have the Bitcoin that you say that you do or the exchange says that you do on your behalf. You remove it from exchanges and you take hold of your private keys. Have a coach walk you through this step-by-step at the Bitcoin way, the leaders in helping you to learn how to protect your sovereign wealth the right way. Go to thebitcoinway.com/simplybitcoin to learn how to remove your Bitcoin from exchanges.
We're not buying Bitcoin in the open market quite yet, but my suspicion is that'll happen when there's enough pressure externally, meaning once the US government recognizes that others are taking action before them, that'll probably catalyze additional action in the future. Predicting that is sort of a fool's errand, in my opinion. It's like really hard to get that correct. But what I am confident in saying is when Bitcoin is $1 million a coin, which I think is coming by, even though it seems unlikely right now, given the current price action, I think it's still coming by, let's say, 2033 or so in that time frame. So within the next 10 years. I think by the time that happens, almost every government will have some direct or indirect exposure to the asset, and it will be viewed as a common, strategic reserve type of asset across the world. So,
can you expand on that a little more? Like, what market cap do you see Bitcoin reaching, and what role will it play within the global financial system?
I mean, I think it could reach 50 or 100 trillion. And what's it at right now? 2 trillion?
Two-ish, yeah. Over what time frame?
Over the next 10 or 15 years.
Okay, I want us to watch this clip, a great clip from an interview that we saw earlier this week about the potential of Bitcoin running to $1 million. But the part of it for me that I have a little skepticism towards is that if the banks and institutions actually get their hands on it, they're not going to allow Bitcoin to just run to $1 million by 2030, just like that. And I believe it's because the amount of Bitcoiners that have all of the Bitcoin and all of the power are going to be more powerful than the people in Wall Street who got to the game too late. But if we do continue to remove Bitcoin from exchanges and have real Bitcoin, the Bitcoin that Saif Dean did talk about in that video, then I believe that $1 million Bitcoin can happen. But it's a matter of whether people want real Bitcoin or the IOUs of Bitcoin that are being maintained, held, and manipulated by these big exchanges. Under natural forces, Bitcoin hits $1 million. More demand, less supply. But if the system is able to manipulate the prices like it's done with silver for years, then that future may take longer than you think. I believe that Bitcoin can hit $1 million by 2030 with real price discovery. I believe that it may take much longer than that if there is manipulation of the price of Bitcoin. And that is the volatility we have to go through. The way that I combat my skepticism of the real Bitcoin narrative playing out or the fake manipulated Bitcoin narrative playing out is that I intend to hold for a lot longer than they're willing to stomach. 4 years is a good time. 10 years is a great time in the right time. And then I'll revisit from there.
You know, as I say, volatility is vitality. Bitcoin is a volatile asset. If you're going to hold the asset, you need a 4-year time horizon as minimum. A 10-year time horizon is really the right time frame. If your time horizon is less than 4 years, you should hold the credit instruments like digital credit. And if you're an equity investor in a digital equity like my company, you need that same 4 to 10-year time horizon. 4 is the short term, 10 years is the long term. I'm an officer of a publicly traded company. And what are we doing? We are in the business of buying a high energy, highly volatile asset and stripping the risk and the volatility off of it in order to sell it to people that are much more risk adverse, that are much more volatility adverse, that just want that yield. And so if Bitcoin wasn't volatile, it probably wouldn't be high performance. And then our value added wouldn't be that great, right? Like, for example, I say to people, if you knew Bitcoin was going to go up 2% a month forever with no volatility, neither you nor I would be in business, because all the conventional finance investors, all the conventional journalists, they would dominate the market. Warren Buffett would own all of it, and there wouldn't be an opportunity for us. So I look at the volatility as it's a challenge, but it's also the bug is the feature. And I say to people, volatility is Satoshi's gift to the faithful. He basically gave you the ability to rise to the top of your profession as an analyst, as a journalist, as a corporate operator, as an investor. And if the volatility goes away, no one cares about your opinion on any of this. It's like, you've got fire, and we've got the phrase burned. Fire burns you, and electricity shocks you. And Henry Ford created an automobile, with a burning engine, with a fire in the engine. And we created electronic transmissions. And so you put electricity and fire in the car, and you've got a killer consumer product. And I think the key here is you got to look at this market and say, this is indicative of energy. You can harness the energy. You can't be scared of the energy, right? There are those people that run from the fires, and then there's people that put the fire in the automobile or the jet airplane. And we kind of need the people to build the airplanes and build the automobiles if we're going to move the civilization forward.
Volatility is Satoshi's gift to the faithful. Are you willing to withstand manipulation if it does happen, like we've seen with silver? Or are you going to wait it out and get the real reward at the end? It's going to be a battle, but even still, we have a lot to be thankful for. Look at the prices of Bitcoin every Thanksgiving and think, what will happen the next 16 years? Will you take part of it? Or are you going to get out early? One of the ways you can become sovereign is by mining and earning sats while you sleep. One of the ways you can do that is you can partner with a company like SAS Mining, who will buy a state-of-the-art mining rig, operate it for you with carbon-free and clean renewable energy, and give you sats directly to your wallet every single day with no contracts, no markups, and no middlemen. Just Satoshis working for you around the clock. Oh, and you can depreciate the value of the machine in year one to offset other income. There's a lot to like there. Use the QR code to get started with SAS Mining and earning sats while you sleep. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Happy stacking.